Lesson learned. Hola, este es nuestro cuarto y último martes de los Plant-Based Talks que hicimos junto a Pachavega. En específico, vamos a hablar sobre la escuela de Raw Food que tiene Danielle Pachavega. Y bueno, estamos muy contentas de todo lo que ha pasado en estas últimas 3 semanas. Esta ya es la cuarta. Y queremos agradecerles a todos los que han visto nuestros videos.
Sí, muchas gracias. Yeah, so really excited as well to be here. This is the 4th and final talk of our series, and we have talked about so many amazing things over the series, but this one is amazing too. There's going to be a lot of extra tips and tricks that I'll share with you over this hour, and also talk about something really exciting that's coming up for me.
Yay. So yeah, I think maybe we can start a little bit about the story of your school and, well, how long it has been around, your students, your courses. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I founded Pachavega in 2013, and that was after, basically 10 years of traveling around the world. I'd been to 25 countries at this point. This was in 2013, and I had finally come back to Canada to sort of settle down and put some roots down. I had recently become a raw food chef and a plant-based educator, and then an advanced raw food chef. And then I also studied at the Ann Wigmore Institute in Puerto Rico, which gave me an amazing foundation of whole plant-based foods that were mostly raw. And that's where I learned about the importance of sprouting and wheatgrass and juicing and smoothies, and even fermentation. There was a more in-depth study into fermentation and how it affected the body. And after those studies, I was coming from living in South Korea, living in Mexico, teaching English, realizing that my passion wasn't in teaching English, but it was in teaching, and it was in teaching how I actually healed my body through food. And in 2011, I had a near-death rock climbing accident where I broke 5 ribs, punctured my lung, and ended up having to self-rescue off a mountain in Turkey, of all places. And that moment I had an epiphany where I needed to start treating my body better. I needed to treat it with respect. And that came down to what I was feeding my body and the nutrients and foods that I was giving myself. Now, would those be foods that supported my healing, or would it be food that prevented me from healing, was the question. And that's sort of where the whole idea, or I guess my whole life, started to shift. It started to shift before. I mean, maybe we can go as far back as when I was 17 years old and I became a vegetarian because my friend was vegetarian. That was my reason. And then after that, when I was 24 years old, I had moved to Mexico and I was teaching English at a high school there. And I decided to go vegan because I was introduced to sort of the behind the scenes of the animal agriculture industry. And I just didn't want to participate in that. I felt like I didn't resonate. I didn't resonate with how we treat animals on a whole globally. And so I decided not to eat animals anymore, or eggs or cheese or anything. And that was that shift. And then after that, I also realized very quickly that you can have food that's vegan, but maybe it's not very healthy. Maybe it's processed, maybe it's loaded with sugar, like sugar's vegan. So I felt like, okay, I needed to make another shift, and that was towards health. But it really didn't stick until after that accident. And at the same time, I actually had begun writing a cookbook series with my neighbor. It was actually that year, in fact, that I had the climbing accident, because the climbing accident was 10 years ago, and my cookbook series were coming up to the 10-year anniversary this year. So it was sort of coincided with this newfound love of experimenting with food and making the food taste good, and being bombarded with all these incredible ingredients that I had never seen before. Meaning, when I was in Korea when this happened, so South Korea markets like crazy vegetables and things that I'd never tried, or even the idea of kimchi, like what was that? So, and fermented food too. That's where it all started for me, was in South Korea. So I was in South Korea. I had gone to Turkey for a climbing trip, and I had this massive accident. I ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks on oxygen. I had a pneumothoracic surgery on my lung. And it's crazy because to this day, I have no lingering pains. My body doesn't hurt. And I still have 2 separated ribs. And I found this out because in 2012 in Haiti, I fractured a small part of another rib on a boat ride. It was like a really choppy boat ride, and I literally got thrown in the air and smashed down on a bar. Anyways, so they did the x-ray, and in the x-ray, you could see the old injury, and those ribs were never, ever, and still won't, still haven't been, but they'll never go back together because they were completely severed. Anyways, the food that I ate when after I had that accident, I realized that it healed me faster than anybody around me thought possible. Even the doctors, they told me I wouldn't be able to climb for 2 years at least. That's the first time I started to cry. Like, oh no, I didn't cry that I had to rescue myself off a mountain, but I cried when they told me I couldn't climb. Like, no, I have a climbing trip planned for the summer. And sure enough, I went on that climbing trip and I climbed. And that was only 4 months after my accident. And it was in those 4 months that I started juicing. I started green smoothies. I started eating whole plant foods a lot more frequently, and a lot less packaged foods, a lot less ramen noodle from Korea. They're obsessed with that. Yeah, so I started being focused more on that. And then it was just logical. Like every step that followed was logical. I was a teacher. I was passionate about teaching, but I was starting to become not passionate about teaching English. I started to want to tell people about my experience about the food, but then I realized I needed more education. So then I went back and I studied, and I came back to Canada and I studied. And this was after we published the cookbook series after. So in fact, a lot of the food in the cookbook was just our experience, based on our love for experimenting in the kitchen. And we created these beautiful meals, and it's actually a really beautiful series. It's called The Kitchens of Pinch and Dash, and the series has 4 parts. Let's start all over. The series has 4 parts. It starts with Share, which is autumn, then Hibernate, which is winter. Spring is called Awake, so Awake Spring, and then Bounty is summer. And so it was the seasonal foods, the seasonal whole plant-based gluten-free foods that inspired those cookbooks. And they're really beautiful because my partner, co-author, Jessica Perlaza, she is an absolutely fantastic photographer. And it was really her photos, and in fact, mostly her design, that brought these books to life. And so, we did it together, but I'm going to credit her with the beauty of it. So and it's going to be the 10th year anniversary. Well, it's 10th year anniversary for my accident, and it's the 10th year anniversary for those cookbooks. So I'm actually looking forward to republishing them again as PDFs. But there's way too much to do this year, so we'll have to wait.
It's a 10-year anniversary from a whole new life, I guess.
Yes, and then that's the long story of the question of how did the school come about, the Pachavega Living Foods Education School, and it's because I needed to share what I learned, and through the personal experience and through everything else afterwards, and still to this day, I believe without a doubt that whole plant-based foods really can heal the body and ignite the spirit, right? Get you excited because they taste so good when you know how to do it right. And that's why Pachavega exists, to bridge the gap between healthy whole foods and deliciousness.
Well, now that you said heal the body and ignite the spirit, Danielle has this other book that she gave me when we came to Ometepe, and this one's also on sale. You can get it in your website, right? Or you can order it.
Yeah, it's
I've
on,
learned
it's on
so much
everywhere.
from this book. I recommend it a lot because I've learned a lot, and it goes through everything, to soups, to salads, to sauces, to desserts. It's wonderful.
Thank you
So
very
this is your
much.
second book, right?
So
This
that
is
would
your
be,
second book?
I guess that's the fifth, because if we count the series as
Ah,
four,
fourth.
but yeah, it's the second book.
Mhm.
Yes, the second experience of a bookmaking. Yeah, that one you can buy anywhere where books are sold. So Amazon, Indigo, Chapters, Barnes and Noble, etc. Yeah, and then obviously on my website.
Okay, great. Okay, so maybe we can talk a little bit about the courses that you offer on your school. I'm guessing that this is like a way of, like, if you plan that, if you decided that you needed to tell your story and how your new life began, then maybe taking a course with you is a way to start a new life for any person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you have a lot of beautiful information to share, and very complete. So we as Sante are very happy to be able to share your information here in Costa Rica, or people that see our information.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I mean, it's kind of like a life's work, right? It's everything and it's all the topics, and it's so hard for me to create. Like, I've created some smaller courses, but really it's the whole package that will shift the lifestyle. And when you know it all, when you can understand it all and at least experience it all, then you are able to see the big picture on how to make this lifestyle shift a permanent thing. And really, I mean, the level 1 course online. So yes, I have an intro course, and the intro course is actually awesome because it's only $99, and it's a small little piece before you commit for real. You can try it out, but it's jam-packed with value. It has so much, and it's like the foundation. So it gives you a foundation which to stand on, and then it shares about the sustainability and ethical choices of this lifestyle, and sort of gives you like motivation for the why. Like, why would I want to do this? Well, because of this. And so that gives you that foundation and really shows you why. And then level 1 shows you how. So the intro is like the why, and there's a bit of how there too, of course. Of course, there's recipes in the intro course. But level 1 has over 80 recipes.
Wow.
And so this is like the how. And that level 1 has 14 modules, and it goes from the introduction to flavor balancing, knife skills. We talk about sprouting and wheatgrass and growing your own microgreens at home, to digestion and a healthy microbiome, to spices around the world, whole foods for athletes. The list goes on. It's complete. And then at the end, there's also a bonus module, which is cooked comfort foods to drool over, because most of the course is based on the idea of raw plant-based foods, as we mentioned in the last talk. But there is a place for cooked foods, as I've also mentioned. And so it gives you that a really great staple, like several different staple foods that can be cooked that you can add to the whole thing. Yeah, and then I have a level 2 course, which takes it to the next level. We talk more about like gourmet raw desserts, dehydrating, and how to really utilize the dehydrator on so many like multi-levels. Things like, crusts and crackers, to different like crepes and banana pancakes and things like that. And then we talk about food for fertility, for pregnancy, just scratching the surface of that topic, but nonetheless giving you great recipes and idea for when you're in that stage of your life. And then it talks about planning, which is essential to overall, making this successful and making it those permanent changes that will make the difference. And as well as even a bonus module on like creating your own holistic business, because many people many people will take the level 2 course because they want to do this as a business, or they want to enhance a part of their business, an aspect of their business. Maybe they're a yoga teacher and they want to offer food and they want to just be a little bit more knowledgeable about the food. Maybe they want to create the menu because they love food, but they don't have the training. Yeah, and I feel like the level 1 course is for people who, well, for both, because if you take level 2, you have to take level 1 as well. But it's for people who are at the moment of, you know, a little bit sick and tired of being sick and tired. Maybe they have some health conditions, or maybe they just know they need to start eating better. So it's that re-inspiration to get back into the kitchen, to revolutionize your health once again through the power of food and tasty food. So yeah, it's so important that I share this with people, because for me, it changed everything. And even though my experience is anecdotal, I know so many people that have benefited from this. And not just that, but the science today is saying that a whole foods plant-based lifestyle can heal the body, can heal the gut, can, you know, improve your sleep, can improve your sex life, can improve so many things in the body, in the mind, you know, improve your mood. So like, why wouldn't you? Right? Why wouldn't you? And I've never once said that you have to stop eating the other things. I mean, yeah, it would probably do you well to stop eating the other things, but if you add these foods, if you add these recipes to your already existing diet, you're going to benefit. And that's what's so empowering, is it's not this complete overhaul. It's just, you're learning new skills to add to what you already know. And then you're shifting things. And it's empowering because you'll also learn that I'm not perfect. And so I talk about the idea of mindset. And this is actually something that I'm preparing, something very exciting, as I mentioned earlier. It comes out August 1st. And should I talk about it?
Go ahead.
It's a masterclass. So a masterclass that is 3 hours. It's 3 videos, 3 hours, approximately 3 hours. Actually, the first video is only about 40 minutes, but nonetheless, 3 videos that look into. I'm working on a masterclass. It has 3 videos, and the first video focuses on. Okay, the first video focuses on mindset and the idea of the 80-20 ratio. So this ratio has been thrown around, and a lot of people know this ratio, understand it. And basically what it is 80% of what you do will be the thing that's consistent in your life. And the 20% is that allowance for you to just be a human being and wiggle and not be stressed about when you're not perfect. And it's so essential, because people come to my course, they think automatically, oh, you're a raw food chef and educator, and you're this, you know, owner of this school, you must be 100% raw. And no, I'm not actually. Not 100% raw, because I did 100% raw for several years, and I realized it wasn't as sustainable as I would want it to be. Not necessarily because of the time and investment in time, but more for the freedom of allowing you to eat out or eat with friends, or when it's really, really, really cold in Canada, although I'm not in Canada right now, but when it's really cold in Canada and you just want to eat a bowl of soup or maybe some cauliflower wings, or, you know, like, it's okay. And you're not gonna go down the hole of poor health if you're doing those things sometimes. Plus, cauliflower rings are like, they're healthy, right? We talked about why raw. We talked a little bit about that, but this mindset is so, so important, because stress contributes to a huge impact, a poor impact on our health when stress is too much and our bodies are struggling to handle the excess stress hormones, which are cortisol. When there's too much cortisol in our body, then, you know, we're anxious, we're jittery, we're unable to sleep properly. And cortisol should be high in the morning when we're getting up and going, and it should be low at night, but we have this opposite effect happening where people are groggy in the morning and they can't wake up before they have a coffee. And then at night they're wired and they can't sleep. That's not right. That's the opposite. And that's basically a sign of an adrenal burnout or adrenal fatigue when your adrenal glands just aren't working as they should. So don't be perfect, because nobody's perfect. We just can't be. It's impossible. And it's way too stressful to try to be perfect. I mean, you can look at that in every aspect of life, not just food. I mean, you know, perfect like body shape. Oh, come on. Who's a perfect body shape? Nobody. It doesn't exist, right? Why are we trying to fit into a mold that doesn't exist? So I think, yeah, the mindset's really important. And then intuitive eating, right? Eating according to how your body tells you what you want to eat. Now, don't get mistaken when, oh yeah, my body is telling me to eat that steak. No, actually, when you really tune into the body, if you eat that steak, you'll probably not feel so good if you really tune into the body. It'll cause a bit of indigestion. So that's what I mean about, you know, eating the food, thinking and really feeling the body. How does it feel in your body? And the more you do that and practice that, the more that you will be good at finding those feelings, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. And so this is what the first masterclass is all about. Plus it gives you some practical tips, a 5-step morning routine, which works wonders to just set you up every single day for success. And then an incredible sort of Buddha bowl. And what I would add to this particular Buddha bowl for your lunch or for your dinner, sort of it's like a template, and also like a smoothie template. So those are pretty cool things, great bonuses. The second hour of the mind class, the second hour of the master class is all about gut health. So healing the gut from the inside out and looking at all the aspects on how the gut can heal and what you can do in order to heal your gut. And then the third masterclass is all about prepping, how to prep, and sauces, and how to make amazing sauces. And basically all the like little tips and tricks that can make it easy for you to implement this into your everyday life without excuses. Because I've heard them all. I've been doing this long enough that I've heard all the excuses, and I've formulated answers to all the excuses. So there's no more excuses. You can't make any excuse. You're like, oh, I can't be bothered to make a smoothie in the morning. Guess what? Make your smoothie at night. Put all the stuff in the blender, put it in the fridge. In the morning, grab the blender out of the fridge, put the water in, blend. Or put the water in the fridge too, and then just stick it on the thing and blend it in the morning. So yeah, there's lots of ways in which to eat healthier that don't have to seem like a chore. And yeah, I'm ready to share basically everything with people in the masterclass. And then the good news is it's a super, super, super low price because I want to give people that are just coming to me for the first time an idea of what they could learn from me. And so there's jam-packed value in this low price to show you what's possible. And then if you feel like studying with me, then you can take the next step. And if not, then you've still received so much information that can change your life just in that masterclass alone. So this is my goal. And this is also my gift, because I want people to you know, have benefits from changing their life. And I want them to feel good and feel like they're thriving. And really, that's my goal. When everybody feels better, the world becomes a better place to be in. When everyone feels good, a lot more people are happy.
Okay, so this masterclass comes out on August 1st, and
Yes.
people can get the information from the link in your bio, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can actually pre-register for the masterclass for August 1st. And that is amazing because I'm only going to offer 100 spots.
Okay.
Just 100 spots, and usually that'll sell out pretty quickly. So.
Okay, so this is one of the things that Danielle offers to teach everything she knows, but we can go also back to your courses. Yeah, as you said, you have the introduction, level 1 and level 2, and you have 2 different modalities, right? The online and the in Nicaragua version.
Yes.
So I want to ask you a little bit about the part of Nicaragua, because I some stories last week about a class you're teaching for local people in Ometepe.
Yes. So yeah, absolutely. You know, and this is we were talking a bit earlier about this, and it's something that I feel like when I share this, I don't want people thinking that I'm bragging or that I'm needing to share this, but I also recognize the value in letting people know that I'm doing this. Although really it's just been a silent thing up until now. But yeah, I basically, every retreat that comes through Wanderlust Utopia and, you know, through Pachavega, I'm able to give back part of the profits. I'm able to donate my time in order to educate and share the message of this powerful plant-based whole foods with local women that would not otherwise be able to afford a course of mine. So yeah, I do this also with my friend Monica. She's the Cacao Fairy, and the two of us are doing some retreats together as well. But these community classes, so we hosted the first community class last week, and it was more of like a roundtable discussion of what do they like. We asked the women, what do you want to learn? Because I have all this knowledge that I could share and all these topics and all these different recipes, but what is it that they want to know? Because I'm not just going to come in there and say, hey, let's learn about this thing. And if they're like, yeah, but we don't want that, we don't eat that, we don't care about that, we can't get that here. So it's all about, you know, listening to what's wanted and then creating a program around that. So we ask them what they're growing in their gardens. Like, what are you growing in your gardens? What are the ingredients that you use on a regular basis? And then literally just the question, what more do you want to know? And what they've noticed over the years is that, so these women, most of them actually sell food at the market. And they've noticed there's a high demand for plant-based vegan food. Some not necessarily raw, but definitely plant-based. And they want to know how to make the food for these people. But what they've realized is that at the end of the day, at the end of the market, if that food isn't sold, they have to eat it. So they want it to taste good too. They want to enjoy eating it because they don't want to, you know, they don't want to waste it. So they want to make food primarily to sell at the market, but then secondly, to feed themselves and their families with the leftovers. So that's really exciting. And yeah, I'm super excited. What we're going to do now that we know what they want is Monica and I are going to craft a 4-part series that shares, yeah, basically different topics that utilizes the knowledge that they already know, the food that's here, and what they have access to in order for them to upgrade their food to make it more nutritious, more healthy, in order for them to learn about the education behind the food and how it actually affects the body, instead of just like, oh, sugar is bad. Why exactly? Let's talk about why exactly. And then when you know why exactly, there's much more of a possibility that you're going to stick with it than just, oh yeah, sugar's bad. Because if, oh yeah, sugar's bad, I don't know, whatever, I don't know, you know. But if it's really bad, and this is why it's bad, and you're actually addicted to it because it, you know, affects the pathways in your brain, and it you know, affects your serotonin and dopamine, and it has these neurotoxic addictive substances called like opioid sequences, which are similar to cocaine. Like when you know this stuff, you're like, wow, I'm actually like, don't want that in my food for real. So how can we make the food taste good and taste sweet without adding sugar? So again, there's so many options. So those are just the things that that we want to share. And then there'll also be opportunity for like skill sharing. So I'm super open to learning more, as always. And so, you know, if these women are like, hey, like, did you know about this? And like, wow, I didn't know, you know, I'm just learning all these wild things in Nicaragua, like how you can use different plants here that I've never used in my life before because they just aren't native to where I'm from. And also they're not shipped around the world, like the chaya. It's tree spinach. Never heard of that before, but wow, it's amazing. It's an incredible dark leafy green. It's super rich in calcium and iron and other things, but it's toxic raw. Who would have known, right? Like I'd be like, oh, I'm eating it raw because it's good. No, it's toxic raw, so you have to cook it. So all these little things, like, we're really excited to share with the local community.
Okay. Okay, that's amazing. That is, well, I absolutely love Ometepe. So knowing that you're given some of your knowledge to them, and also that you're receiving knowledge from them, it's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe we can talk a little bit about the difference if you take the courses online and if you take them in person.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually the same curriculum. It's the same curriculum because it wasn't before, and it was so confusing for me as the organizer. I was like, oh yeah, this one comes after this one. Like, no, wait, that's on the online, but which is in the, so no, it's the same curriculum. The main difference is that when you're doing the online course, you're doing it in your home, and you're responsible for doing every single step and making every single recipe. So you actually, it's almost like in the course itself and in the recipes themselves, you get a deeper understanding. Whereas the in-person course, so the online course, the level 1 is, I recommend 3 months. That's if you're taking one module a week and you have your life included, and you spend, anywhere from 5 to 10 hours a week on a module. In the level 1 in-person course in Nicaragua, it's 8 days. So I've condensed what's 3 months into 8 days, and you're no longer making every single recipe. Your team collectively, the students as a team, so 8 to 10 people, maybe 12 people, will be making the recipes with everybody will be making the recipes. So for example, you might be paired up with one person and you're responsible for making the pesto, whereas another team might be responsible for making the salsa. And so in fact, the people making this pesto don't get to make the salsa, and the people making salsa don't get to make the pesto. You get to eat it, everybody gets to eat it all, and you get the same skills because both of those things are made in the food processor, but you're not making all the recipes yourself. So that's why it's quicker, and you still get all the recipes to take home with you. So when you get home, you can make all those foods, and you do know the skills. So that's the basic thing, is like, how to use all the machines, and the techniques. And so you can just swap out the ingredients to make a different recipe using the same skills and techniques. So in that way, you're not losing anything. But when you come in person, it's a whole different experience because you get to be with a group, right? You get to feel that energy. We do yoga every day. We have outings where we get to go visit a chocolate factory, a tree to bar chocolate factory, which actually they grow the cacao. The whole entire process from literally planting the tree until making the chocolate bar. And you get to see that whole process. You get to be on Ometepe Island. You get to be at Wanderlust Utopia, which has this incredible swimming pool. There's we're going to have music bonfire. We're going to have ecstatic dance. We're going to do cacao ceremonies. So the experience is different level than doing it at home. But saying that, some people like to do both, which means some people like to start online. They do level 1 online, and then they come and do level 2 with me here. Also the opposite. I have people that come and do level 1 with me in person, and then after they're done, maybe a year later, they're like, I want more. I'm going to sign up for level 2 online. So total possibilities, either or you can come to Nicaragua and do both level 1 and level 2 within 16 days, or you can do both level 1 and level 2, which takes about 6 months online. So those are the differences.
Okay. I also know that you can get the certification out of this course.
Yes, exactly. So we have, so some people come to this course for their own benefit, for their own life, for their own family, and for their own knowledge. And they have no intention of making it a profession, or, they don't really want to be a raw food chef. It's not about the certification for them. It's about the knowledge and the skills gained. So for that, there's one certification, which is the same curriculum, but different ending. And then you have the person who wants to take their career to the next level. They want to integrate this into their own practice. They're a holistic healer of some sort. And so for that person, there is more depth in the feedback. And then they also have to keep a digital journal, basically an online journal of like what they change about the recipes, what they've learned, if they, have questions, or, questions and answers can happen live, like as they're doing the course, but it's more of like a reflection. So like kind of like a journal, reflecting upon the recipes, reflecting upon the lessons learned. And then at the end, they submit the journal for my review. And obviously that takes like time and energy commitment from me. And then they get a call with me, which allows me to give them personal feedback on what I feel like they shine in and what I feel like overall that they need to improve on. And then after that, they get the international certification as International Raw Food Chef certification. And then they get a 5-year membership to the Raw Food Chef Alliance. And this is an alliance in its infancy. It's actually an alliance that I created because there was nothing like it of its sort. And it's a way to bring the community around the world together. And it's like how do I say? It's a way in which raw food chefs to come together all over the world. Yeah, and share their knowledge, share job opportunities. That's a big one. I get a lot of job opportunities and people calling me, asking me to come be a raw food chef at a retreat in Bali. And wouldn't that be wonderful? But I'm living in Nicaragua, I have a baby, I'm not gonna be able to make it to Bali. But wouldn't that be great if I can pass on that opportunity to someone else? Yeah, so that's another reason why I created it. Collaborations, like I did a project called 7 Days with 7 Raw Food Chefs. And collectively we've sold over, I think, 830 books, programs. And, that was because with the power of all 7, we created this like buzz between all of our social media channels, etc. And we were able to benefit more if we were just doing it alone. So that's another example of why that alliance exists. And then I have a Raw Food Chef Alliance retreat at Wanderlust Utopia next year, which will invite the raw food chefs to come here and, enjoy this beautiful place, learn new skills, learn new recipes, and really relax in this beautiful environment with like-minded people and make potential business connections.
Wow, that sounds amazing. It's great. So cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we can make like a short resume about what you're offering right now. So we have on your web page, we have the courses online and in person. We have the books. We have Heal and Ignite at every website that sells books almost. We have the masterclass coming out on August 1st. And am I missing something?
That's it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We could talk about the other thing that I'm doing right now. The TV show that I'm working on. No, we won't go there. Yeah. That will have to be a different call, but it's called Heal and Ignite Across Canada. I've been working on it for 5 years and I'm still working on it, which means it's getting closer. It's getting closer. But at the moment, I'm working on it behind the scenes. I'll let everybody else know when they can help or be involved.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So just like, woo, heads up.
Okay, so now that we have all the information and we've tell everyone everything they need to know, we just want to tell people that if they want any information from Danielle or from her school, they can write to us at Sante, or also they could write to them directly. También si alguien de Costa Rica quiere ir a alguno de los cursos en Ometepe, puede hablar con nosotros. Nosotros tenemos toda la información disponible y también estamos interesados en hacer un grupo que vaya a las certificaciones. Entonces, pues, este es como el inicio de crear este proceso con Pachavega. y queremos que cualquier pregunta, cualquier información, en todo caso también si quisieran eventualmente tener una llamada directamente con Daniel, lo podemos coordinar y creo que estamos listos para iniciar un grupo que quiere ir a Ometepe.
Sí, si tienen más preguntas porque entendiste un poquito o no o nada, también puede llamar o escribir a Crisia en Sante Superfoods y preguntar cualquier cosa y sí, vamos a estar en contacto, seguro.
Y bueno, sí, esto también sirve para una persona que quiera aprender sobre este tipo de alimentación y este estilo de vida. Sirve para personas que ya tengan su propio restaurante o que tengan un hotel o, como dijo Daniel ahora durante la conversación, alguien que quiere que sea teacher de yoga, pero quiere también ofrecer el retreat con la comida y así.
Sí,
Sirve para un montón de cosas y por supuesto para sanarse a uno mismo y para estar bien uno mismo. Entonces, pues esperamos recibir muchas preguntas y mucha gente interesada. Y nada, pues muchas gracias a todos por haber estado durante estas 4 semanas y haber escuchado nuestras talks y estamos muy felices de haber hecho esto.
Sí, muchas gracias por la oportunidad para compartir mi historia y sí, estoy muy bendecida para estar aquí en Nicaragua todos los días, siento muy agradecida y y también muy agradecida para conocerte, Crisia, y también a Fran de Sante Superfoods porque me gusta mucho que están haciendo también. Estamos tratando a mejorar el mundo poco a poquito.
Yes, as you how's it Pachavega's vision? I think is we are the change that we want to see in the world.
Yes, we are the change.
We are the change.
Yeah, we are the change. Yeah, because it's true. You know, be the change you want to see in the world is saying that it's maybe a future thing, like maybe you should be, but when we are the change is more, it's like we're embodying that. We're doing it right now. So, yeah.
Thank you, Danielle, for all the information, for all the wonderful talks, and thank you for sharing everything with us.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.